Welcome back, Maleficent fans! Disney's live actions have been taking over the film industry in full force, including one of their biggest hits, Maleficent. But if you've ever watched Angelina Jolie's Maleficent, you know that Disney strayed far away from the plot of the original Sleeping Beauty. In this video, we'll be taking a look at just how different the two movies are by delving behind the scenes of both. Which movie really is the better story? And did Disney make a mistake with their live action? Or was it the change Sleeping Beauty needed all along?
Did you hear that, my pet?
Let's start off with the most basic difference in the making of the two films: their actors. Of course, Disney's remake had Hollywood sweetheart Angelina Jolie take on the role of Maleficent in the films. In Sleeping Beauty, actress Eleanor Audley was cast for the role, but she was no stranger to the Disney world. She also voiced Lady Tremaine in Cinderella. Making the movie a live action, of course, saved the work of having to animate Angelina Jolie, but the production put in the time making her perfect in another way. She didn't just grow out those sharp cheekbones overnight. Angelina spent hours in hair and makeup while the artist perfected her look for the film. Audley also spent some time physically transforming for the role. She had to act out the scenes in costume in order to help animators portray her real-life movements. Overall, their costumes, horns, and intimidating looks are pretty similar. Next up, the one and only Princess Aurora, of course. The elegant Elle Fanning took on the role of the cursed princess in the live action and brought to life a modern version of, let's face it, the pretty bland original version. But there was nothing bland about the voice behind the animated Sleeping Beauty. Mary Costa took on that role back in the 1950s, but another actress, Helene Stanley, was actually the face behind Sleeping Beauty. She was the live action model for the animation of Aurora. While Helene was dressed in a real-life costume of what came across in the animation, Elle Fanning's version of Aurora included much more variety in her wardrobe. The similarities between their appearances stop at their blonde hair and kind face. Now here's where the real big differences start in the production of the two films. Did you ever watch Sleeping Beauty and wonder why exactly Maleficent was so mad at the royals that she would put an evil curse on their innocent daughter? Besides not being invited to the ceremony, there was never really any reason behind it.
I really felt quite distressed at not receiving an invitation.
But in Maleficent, that all gets answered. Maleficent wasn't exactly evil in the live action. She is only seeking revenge on Aurora's father, King Stefan. After saving his life, he betrays her by seducing her, drugging her, and then cutting off her wings. That is why she became the evil queen of the Moors with a thirst for revenge. The Maleficent script definitely gave the character a more in-depth personality and weirdly had us sympathizing with her despite her evil ways. Another fun fact, Angelina's daughter actually crashed a brainstorming session where she helped the screenwriters come up with an important storyline in the sequel involving the Dark Fae. One of the most iconic scenes of the original movie has to be when Maleficent transforms into a literal fire-breathing dragon in the final battle against Prince Philip. However, in the film Maleficent, that never happens. Instead, in the live action, Maleficent turns her familiar Diaval into a dragon instead. Another plot twist at the end of those battles is that in Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent meets her demise. But in Maleficent, it's King Stefan they take down. The closest Maleficent ever comes to transforming into a dragon is in Maleficent Mistress of Evil, when Aurora's tears resurrect her from the ashes as a phoenix. Speaking of Maleficent's familiar, there are huge differences between him and the two worlds. In Sleeping Beauty, he's the classic evil sidekick, sitting on her shoulder and doing her dirty work. He's also strictly a crow. While in Maleficent, he's all those things we mentioned above. Let's just say he's more of a character. Not only does he get a name, Diaval, but Maleficent has the power to transform him into a human when needed. His human version is played by Sam Riley, and while he might have human features, the filmmakers still made sure he kept his dark crow vibes. We can't forget his rendezvous as a dragon as well. While the actors and storyline are definitely very important when making sure you produce an amazing movie, there's something else that needs to be perfect to bring everything to life: the set and scene production. Considering one movie was animated and the other a live action, their approach to get that perfection was of course very different. In the case of Sleeping Beauty, Disney and Walt himself hired an artist that would illustrate the scenes before any animating happened. In fact, Walt was very adamant that Sleeping Beauty's illustrations had to translate perfectly after he believed some of his past movies' illustrations never got translated on screen properly. If you take a look at behind-the-scenes filming of Maleficent, most of the time the actors are working on a set that consists of multiple green screens. VFX and CGI were the true winners of the film. If it wasn't for them, the film would not have been able to be brought to life the way it was. Like any good fairy tale movie, the day is saved by true love's kiss in both films. But even that part of the story is altered when it comes to Maleficent. In Sleeping Beauty, it's Prince Philip who swoops in, kisses her, and breaks the dreadful sleeping curse. However, in Maleficent, it's Maleficent herself that breaks the curse because of her love for Aurora. Instead of waiting for the day where she would finally get her revenge like in Sleeping Beauty, in the live action, Maleficent grew fond of Aurora, referring to herself as her godmother and even trying to secretly find a way to stop Aurora's impending doom. Overall though, both true love's kiss scenes were filmed and set pretty similarly. Like we mentioned before, King Stefan is the reason why Maleficent is seeking revenge in the first place. However, not only did he drug and rip off her wings, but he also ended up lying his way into royalty and stealing the throne. That's right, unlike King Stefan's nobility in Sleeping Beauty, he started off as an evil peasant and orphan who betrayed many. The differences in their physical appearances are definitely worth noting as well. While Maleficent's love is what breaks the curse in the live action, it doesn't mean Prince Philip wasn't important in the Maleficent films. In Sleeping Beauty, Prince Philip is your classic Disney prince. He's betrothed to Aurora the moment she is born and happens to spontaneously fall in love with her at first sight. He's even got the traditional prince look, royal steed and all. While in Maleficent, he still has royalty vibes with his sandy hair and horse, their love story is completely different. They are taken with each other during their first meeting, but they go through more of a courting process and don't even get engaged until the sequel. What would the story of Princess Aurora be without her fairy godmothers? Probably not as entertaining, let's be real. While in both Sleeping Beauty and Maleficent, their purpose is the same: raise and protect Aurora. Their names and appearances are slightly different. To start, in Sleeping Beauty, the protectors go by the names Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. In Maleficent, they're called Thistlewit, Flittle, and Knotgrass. The original film also made sure that the fairies were presented as super fantastical with glitter, big dresses, and magic wands. But in Maleficent, they were more one with nature. They all still had their own color, but were more understated fairies. They were also part of Maleficent's very, very complicated history. Shout out to actresses Juno Temple, Imelda Staunton, and Leslie Manville for bringing the live-action versions to life. Let's be real, Angelina definitely brought a whole new level of awesome to Maleficent. With her impeccable acting skills and piercing eyes, there's no comparing. But she didn't bring the awesomeness to Maleficent alone. The filmmakers took an old Disney character and made her into an icon. One way they did this was through her powers. In Sleeping Beauty, in addition to her evil powers, she can transport using a type of spin magic. We gotta admit, it looked pretty cool for a 1950s film. But in Maleficent, she had wings, which meant she could fly. And oh, can she fly! In fact, her getting her wings cut off is what gets the entire plot of the franchise going. It's also pretty interesting to get a look behind the scenes of how they made these powers come to life in each film. There's no doubt that tons of hours and hard work went into the making of these films despite their differences. It's also changed the way we watch these films now, knowing just what went into them behind the scenes. Were any of these behind-the-scenes changes shocking to you? Let us know if you prefer Maleficent or Sleeping Beauty in the comment section below. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more of these fairy tale videos. Catch you in another kingdom!